It's an incredible download that I just received. We live in a one-dimensional world.
Let me
You see, it's
explain.
the human eye, as an example, that allows us to see color. Therefore, the butterfly, the flower, the sky, the trees, your colored pencils, they don't have color. It is the reflection of the human eye and the brain together that translates light into color. Light receptors within the eye transmits messages to the brain, which produces a familiar sensation of color. Newton observed that color is not inherent in objects. Let's repeat that. Color is not inherent in objects. Rather, the surface of an object reflects some colors and absorbs all others. So, the light from the sun or unnatural lighting has all colors. But let me rephrase that. Natural light from the sun is the best lighting. Why? Because it has all colors and it will reflect or absorb the proper color intended from a non-man-made image, subject, or a man-made subject. Where unnatural lighting, such as gold or blue fluorescent lighting, for instance, will not give you its natural source of color it was intended to reflect. Now, hang in with me because I'm going to have you understand the one-dimensional world in a second that we live in. People say 3D, they see 5D, they say 7D. It actually goes all the way to 9D, 9-dimensional, but I am speaking only of how we visually see our world. You can use this to understand all the other senses, how you hear your world, how you sense your world, how you smell your world, etc. We live in a one-dimensional world, and here's why. Just like the surface of an object reflects some colors and absorbs all others, or that color is not inherent in objects, neither is how we see our world. So we have a one-dimensional world, and we choose whether we want to see it 2D, 3D, 5D, etc. We choose with our brains and our heart how we see this world. Therefore, I want you to take a look at your phone, for instance. Look at a picture, a video, or an image, or even your screen saver. It looks multidimensional. It looks like there's depth, height, width, texture, but there isn't. Touch your phone. It's flat. What's the width of your phone? Quarter of an inch? And yet, what you're looking at, you can see an enormous amount of depth. That is a reflection. It is a 1D image. And the way that your eyes, your brain, your heart, your perception, and even your emotions and your psychology sees this is completely independent and individually based on you. Your unique version of your world creates the dimension, the depth. So you could argue with me, well, Holly, I'm looking across my room. I can see my fireplace. I'm sitting on the couch and I can get up and I can walk 15 steps to get there. It's not one dimensional. Otherwise, it would bang into a glass wall or some kind of a wall as if you would with your phone. But that too, just because we can interact with it doesn't mean that it's not one dimensional. You can argue with me about this. I would actually like that, a debate, a healthy debate. This is just a new download that I've received. And then I had the reference of all of the other cone cells that help detect color in the eyes, and the inherent objects do not actually hold color. I learned this years ago in school with a butterfly, that it's actually the shape of the butterfly's microcellular makeup of his wing. Not sure if I said that right. That creates the refraction and the reflection and the absorption of light, which allows all of us with a normal eye, a normal cone cell retina, to see these millions of light sensitive cells. It is my eye that allows that. And therefore, if there's 10 people in the room and all of you we all have the same so-called healthy eye component, we will see the same colors on this butterfly. If we're not, if we do not have that, then we may be colorblind. And colorblind, every person who's colorblind has different colored blindness. One may be able to see blue where another one cannot. And this is based on what's called the rods and the cones of the eye, of the retina. And therefore, some of us in life, so-called colorblind. I mean, colorblind is in life may not be so bad. We may be blinded to some things that are very sensitive, not meant to be seen by us, not meant to be observed by everybody. Therefore, I now want to consider mental health, emotional health, psychological well-being, spiritual and soul health and well-being. Imagine that you've had a numerous amount of traumas, not just one. You could have one big giant trauma or a consistent amount of traumas. The PTSD, CPTSD. And the way that you survived that was your physical body not allowing you to have the sensations, the senses, the sensations, in order to somewhat numb or calm or give yourself some respite. But the rest of the world is hyperactive, specifically now. We are bombarded by hyperactivity in our world of visuals and smells and sense and being. The mind is not allowed to be calm. So you numb these senses. You don't see the beauty, the colors, the multifaceted dimensions of light and reflection and refraction and absorption. You don't hear it. And since our hearing, our sight, our smell is very much connected to our feeling, it's not supposed to be, but this is the world we've lived in for several decades. This feels good. This looks good. This tastes good. This smells good. This gives me a good feeling. I want it. I want it. I want it. And so they call us numb, depressed, deep rest. As the famous Jim Carrey says, I'm not depressed. I just require deep rest. At the onset of COVID, as he retreated to his mountain cabin and didn't come out for years, didn't invite anybody over, just spent day after week after year by himself. Well, he wrote a book, and he co-wrote that book with one friend who did eventually come to visit him. Depressed? Bitter? Scared? No. No. He's decided to spend time by himself with all of his senses, not influenced by the outside world, not tainted, directed, micromanaged by the outer world. He decided to live in a 1D world, a one-dimensional world, and allow his inner being to create the dimensions, or nature to create those dimensions. Sad, depressed, alienated, lost, because the big world out there doesn't want to interact with you, or you do not want to engage with the massive, fake, man-made world that is out there. That's not a disgrace or a disability or a dis-ease. It's a superpower. It's a superpower. Are you listening to the calling?